this call again. I don't know which one of those is Hood River Police Department. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that whirring. That's actually somebody's car. That sound is annoying. I might just stand out in the road so that she can actually back out. No, she's getting it. Hello?
Can you hold?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for holding it still there.
I'm still here.
Okay, what can I help you with?
Well, I need the victimization to stop. I have been trying to turn in several of your officers for creating a safety risk for me here, and so far I've just gotten blown off. I am an at-risk adult. This is not okay.
Okay, can I get you transferred over to our chief of police?
You may.
Thank you so much.
They hung up. Not getting blown off, huh? They hung up. Hello, this is Sean Schwartz. You guys hung up on me. You were going to transfer me to the chief of police. The same thing happened the other day, except instead of me getting hung up on, I was transferred to the clerk of courts instead of the police.
Okay, we're giving you, we're transferring to the city police, and you have to give the extension number. So what I'm going to do is give you the phone number, and then you have to hit the extension you want, so that you don't give the wrong number, okay?
Ma'am, I'm outside. I'm overwhelmed. There's a vehicle running, so I can't
Okay, so
hardly hear a word you're
hold on one
saying.
second because we're extremely busy. One second, I'm going to try to explain this to you really quickly. When I transfer you, if they're not available, it's going to go to the next available one. So if you get the wrong one, it's because they're not available. Just all I say, okay? I will attempt to transfer you. One second.
I can't hear a word you're saying. I'm stuck out here with traffic.
Did you get? Okay, I'm going to try to transfer you. If you go to a different location, it's because they're not available. That's the only reason you get different. Hold on one second.
I don't know. Maybe you guys can hear what it's saying and tell me what it says because obviously I can't hear it. It's right next to the speaker on the microphone on the computer, so maybe you guys can hear it. I'm trying to. I've got a vehicle there. Vehicles keep driving by, and I can't hear a word they're saying. Like, these are not my fault. These problems are not my fault. It's not my fault that that truck had to park there. It's not my fault that I am stuck in this position. These are stupid problems to be having. Slander like this cuts people off from resources required to defend themselves. This is especially true for people who are disabled. What these officers are doing is immoral. It's wrong. It is so wrong. But this is the treatment when you don't have somebody there in person, when you are a disabled person. They just say, oh, he's mentally ill, and then they don't do their fucking jobs. Any excuse not to do their jobs. So here I am trying to call these guys, trying to get them to actually do their jobs while all they want to do is blow me off, interrupt me, go out of their way to lie to me. And then when they get busted lying, they just want to, oh, well, we didn't do anything wrong. You got to take care of it in the civil courts. That is how they get away with this. They know that we are too broke to take them to civil court. They know that there's slander, like calling us mentally ill, pretending we're schizophrenic or on drugs. They already know that that discredits us. They have already laid the groundwork in this town for discrediting me. They are already shown their willingness to harass me and to lie to me repeatedly, increasing the safety factors that are already prevalent. These officers are already doing the same things as officers in all of these other jurisdictions have done. Go out of their way to make any excuse not to do their jobs, any excuse to discredit, any excuse to look away. And it all comes down to the fact that I am too broke to actually hire a real goddamn lawyer. And I am too broke because of the repeated theft. The repeated theft that these guys ignore by calling me mentally ill, by giving me the runaround, by blowing me off and claiming that I didn't try. This is not okay. And then what do? They try pulling the stuff like they've been pulling up there to try to scare you, to try to intimidate you, to try to deter other people from helping you through slander. These are police officers doing this nationwide. They will literally assault you, put you in as much pain as possible, forcing you to move, forcing your body to react. And then they say, stop resisting, or they pretend like you're trying to assault them while they're trying to break your arm. These are the tactics that they use when you try to turn them in. I can barely hear the voice on that. I've got my volume all the way up, all the way up. I've got it on speakerphone with my volume all the way up, and I can't hardly hear it. I can tell that the answering machine is talking. It's not doing me any good. People didn't want to pay attention, even though they promised they were going to help. Miss Peaches was too busy getting stoned, too busy selling drugs, and too busy playing video games. Hello? It's not doing me any good. Hello? It's like she didn't hear a word that I had to say. I explained to her, I can't hear. I explained that repeatedly over and over. I can't hear you. I don't want to have to do this out here. Obviously, I can't talk about these things inside. Right again. Hello. The whole thing didn't work. I'm stuck in traffic. I can't hardly hear what you're saying. I definitely can't hear the answering machine. I'm trying to turn in a lot of abuse, about 6 years worth, and about 2 to 3 weeks worth from your officers.
Okay, I've transferred you a couple times. If they're not answering, it's because they're busy at the moment. I don't have a sergeant on duty right now that can take information from you. I can put in a phone message, but I did that last night. He's just not on duty yet.
Ma'am, I can't just keep taking this abuse.
Okay, well, like I said, it would need to go through a sergeant, and last night I put in a phone message to have him call you as soon as he gets in today, but he's not here yet.
Do you know what sergeant it is? Because one of the ones I'm trying to turn in a Lieutenant Don Chelly.
That is not who will be contacting you.
Very good.
So if you will go ahead and wait for the remainder of the day, he should call you as soon as he gets on duty, okay?
The remainder of the day, yes, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Remainder of the day. So I gotta stay here at Starbucks so that I can record it, so that later on they can't pretend it didn't happen. They've got their own body cameras, but you got to hear that phone call that I made to them about that. It takes an act of God to get that. That's why you have to record it. But Samuel Leon Lawrence IV, at least his friend was recording it and posted that. I didn't have a friend like that. My friends wouldn't record. My autism advocate wouldn't record. That's why these people get away with doing this over and over and over again. And before any of y'all ask, that is not an officer. That's the guy who's driving the truck. They're security guards. They deal with the money. They do that at banks. They do that at Western Union. They do it all over. Their job is to protect the money. They're not police officers. They do not work for police officers. They work for a private security firm that's supposed to guard your money. There needs to be someone here for my safety so that these officers do not pull these tactics of blowing me off, interrupting me. When they get caught lying, they just shut up. That's smart of them. Yesterday, when Shelly was trying to pull his BS, was it the day before now? Jesus. Every day runs into the next. Hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait. Meanwhile, all they're trying to do is drag it out and drag it out and drag it out. The longer they can drag it out, the more excuses that they can make. And they get away with it because I don't have the money for a lawyer. They get away with it because I was forced into poverty over crimes that I didn't commit. They get away with it by using the term mentally ill. They get away with it by lying to other people and telling them that I am schizophrenic and doing drugs. This is not proper conduct. Then for that officer yesterday, he got busted lying to me, telling me that it's not illegal for people to lie. Well, it is when it's done maliciously and with the intent of harming another individual. What these officers do nationwide is malicious towards the homeless, and it is meant specifically to bring harm upon us, to discredit us, and to prevent us from getting an honest day in court. Then they railroad us because you guys just don't want to see poverty. And they railroad us in court, and then they deny us the right to show evidence. They deny us the right to make a police report. Even if we write a police report, if we have to do it alone, well, then they can just pretend it never happened. That's why someone needs to go in. The way that they're talking to me right now, this is how they treat somebody who they've already deemed mentally ill. They've already deemed isn't worth helping. Someone who they have already decided and put on the radar that they are going to victimize. See, that's what's called a primer. When they try to tell the other people here that I am schizophrenic and doing drugs with people, what they're trying to do is paint me as somebody that I'm not and discredit me immediately, so that if they continue to harass me and commit further crimes, those people will just assume that I wanted it, needed it, chose it, or deserved it, or it's a mental health check. This is not okay. These tactics are used nationwide to literally murder the homeless. They prey on the fact that the American public doesn't care. They also prey on the homeless by slandering us to the American public so that the American public doesn't care. That's how propaganda works. When they lie to you and say they can't do anything about it, well, if they can do that exact same thing for others, they can do it for you. So they're picking and choosing when the law applies, and that is not okay. That is felonious, and they continue to do this. They will continue to do this until I have someone in person to fight for my rights, to say, yes, these things are happening. Mandy Singer, thank goodness she was able to speak up, at least on my YouTube channel. But as far as making those calls to the cops, no, she's fucking scared shitless of losing her housing. That's right. She has to worry about consequences for doing the right thing, just like all these people who I have recorded, letting me know that they could lose their job if they do their job as mandated reporters. So why are there mandated reporter laws? The fact that they didn't report, you know what, between losing your job or going to jail for 6 months and still losing your job and not being allowed to get back into that type of work. Yeah, after you've been busted, spent your 6 months in jail because a mandated reporter has to turn that in, and you didn't. After you spend 6 months in jail and you want to go back to being a nurse, they're not going to let you be a nurse. You've already shown that you will allow innocent people to be harmed, to be victimized. No. There is a reason that these people are not coming forward. There's also a reason that I recorded it. They broke the law repeatedly, over and over. These tactics are not okay, no matter how much you pretend they are. The next step is to bully me. They either try to bully me into not making a report because lying to me obviously didn't work. They got busted lying. So now it's bullying, which they've already tried. After that, it's false charges or arresting me and telling the hospitals that I'm schizophrenic. Over and over again. And every single one of you needs to worry about this because every single one of you could potentially become homeless, and every single homeless person has to worry about this. Once you're homeless, you no longer have rights. You're no longer a human being. You're stuck in other people's environments where you are subservient to them. You are subservient to their wants and their desires. You have no rights. That's the point. It's a subservient environment. They have all the rights. They can victimize you and get away with it because it's their place. They can get drunk and abusive, and they're allowed because it's their place. It's just assumed. Well, that don't make it okay. To deny somebody human rights because they don't have a place of their own. You require me to do all these hoop jumping that my disabilities prevent me from doing. I am an at-risk adult, and they are taking full advantage of this. I'm trying to turn in crimes, people. Because I am disabled, these crimes are not civil. They are criminal. I am an at-risk adult. That makes all of these crimes automatically felonies, and that includes in this state. They've got a list of excuses that they can make that somehow magically justify them committing these crimes. Now, obviously, these things are against the law, but they do it anyway, and they get away with it, make it their word versus mine, which is why I am going out of my way to make sure that it is recorded. But now I have to wait here at Starbucks all day long because they might call me. They might also tow my car while I'm here. And my car is full of evidence of police officers nationwide doing the exact same thing as these Hood River officers. Going around discrediting me, trying to discourage people from helping me or outright threaten or intimidate them. That's the next step. I have hundreds of recordings with police officers of them going through these exact same stages. First, when I try to turn them in, they talk over me, make excuses why the crimes committed against me are somehow magically okay. And then I say, well, is it okay under this situation? And I lay it out. And then instead of answering, because they know that the answer is yes, those actions are illegal, instead of answering, they shut their mouths. Or they tell me it's a civil thing. No, it is not. I am an at-risk adult. None of this is civil. By law, none of this is civil. By law, the crimes that are committed against me are criminal. They are felonies, all of them, because I am disabled. They are felonies. They are felonies. Hundreds of people that I have interacted with since Natalie's death who are disabled are going through the exact same thing. There are laws that are supposed to protect us. They are not being observed. They are not being enforced. The police are going out of their way not to enforce it. My public pretenders, my autism advocate, Meg Misigatis, as well as, well, you got to hear my therapist, the lady who said very loud and clear that I am neither schizophrenic nor delusional. These people all know that the system doesn't work. They know that it's supposed to, but it doesn't. These people all know that my disabilities prevent me from doing these things for myself, and one of those disabilities is slander. That slander they use to discredit their victims. Officers do the same thing as domestic abusers. What happens when your dad beats you up or your husband beats you up and you're all covered in black and blue bruises? They take away your phone, they take away your vehicle, they take away any evidence that you have of the wrongdoing that they committed against you, and then they lock you in a room and won't let you leave, not until the bruises are gone. And then it's your word versus theirs. Police use the same exact tactics when you try to turn them in. That gaslighting, where they go around and tell everybody that you're crazy and not to listen to you. This is why boys commit suicide at 5 times the rate of girls. This is why girls cut themselves at 5 times the rate of boys. It's because of your reaction, depending on if it's a male or a female. A female might get hurt. A male will be victimized for speaking up no matter what. You get to see the blatant sexism that I've had to endure in my text messages, in my Facebook Messenger. You get to see how making me a target through this slander and denying me the right to defend myself in court, denying me the right to show up in court, denying me the right to turn in my offenders, forcing me to do it in ways that they already know that I cannot do it. I cannot do this online without assistance. They know this. They know that I will be blown off if I have to make these calls alone. All of you know this. I shouldn't have to make these calls alone. I am an at-risk adult. And that slander is only a small part of what puts me at risk. Every single person who has ever been called mentally ill in the United States can be victimized in exactly the same way. It doesn't just slander your name. They slander your name for a reason. They're trying to get away with crimes. They're trying to get away with assaults. They're trying to get away with threats. They're trying to get away with illegal incarceration and lying on court documents, ignoring crimes against an at-risk adult. The slander already started by the Hood River Police Department, as well as the repeated harassment by them, needs to be addressed. The fact that I got to call them to try to get help and they're going to tell me to call someone else and I'm going to get the runaround because, again, I am an at-risk adult. They know this, which is why they blow me off. They know I have no support, which is why they blow me off. When it's just me and them, I have no support. They can do whatever they want. They can blow me off and make whatever excuses that they want. This is not okay. This also increases the safety risk for me here at Starbucks and makes so that it is less likely that I will be welcome here at Starbucks when I have to call police to try to get help. I don't make these videos inside because they could get me kicked out. That's right. Trying to make a report can get me kicked out, can cut me off from the resources that I need in order to turn these people in. Now I have the resources, I need the knowledge, I don't have it. Having somebody actually sit down with me and work on this stuff instead of make empty promises for days and days and days and tell me every time that it's time to do so, oh, I'm too stoned, I'm too stoned. Well, then, after days and days of keeping my electronics charged up so I can do it, it's when my electronics are dead that they say they're gonna. So then, there's a lot of help that I need. They can sit down for an hour at a place like Starbucks and help me hash this out, but they're busy smoking weed and hanging out at their vehicle. And of course, I can't force them to help. I am glad that they helped me to hook up my Wi-Fi hotspot. That is very useful. That wasn't officers, that was two of the homeless people that were lied to by officers. That was the two people these officers tried telling that I was doing meth with another person in my vehicle and that I was schizophrenic. Now, the reason that I was able to actually get help from those people, I walked into McDonald's here because of that slander. And that slander that was told to this old man who's literally right there. That's the racist old guy right there. Says vet needs gas. Well, I don't care if he's a veteran. I'm not going to tolerate his racism. I got multiple recordings where he's just repeatedly calling me the N word. Absolutely not. And that guy in that very same McDonald's nearly got to a physical altercation, even with those two youngins, Logan and Shayna, I believe. Even with those two right there telling him it wasn't me, that I wasn't the one who was doing it, that I wasn't the one who was running around threatening to smash people's heads in with rocks. Even with those two people there, he still nearly brought it to a physical altercation in McDonald's. See, that is the result of police officers doing this, of police officers intentionally slandering the homeless. It's abuse. Now, thank goodness those two youngins were there in that McDonald's when that old man was trying to be threatening and intimidating. Thank goodness those two youngins were in there to set him straight. Those officers literally had their guns on their holsters just last week over something that dude with the rocks was doing. They already knew that I wasn't the dude with the rocks. Thank goodness I've got these situations recorded. But the thing is, as soon as I turn off the recording, are they likely to show up then? Well, then I got to try to get a recording started so that I can actually record the situation and show what's going on. Then there's the fact that I have to omit certain things, like people's phone numbers. This is because the police have created a safety risk. The police department here in Hood River has created a safety risk. Knowingly, willingly, and intentionally, and then they're too busy to do anything about it. These things wouldn't have happened if I'd have had somebody in person. That's the thing about being an at risk adult, especially out on the streets where you're at a much higher risk of abuse, not just by the homeless, but also by law enforcement, because this bias is used nationwide to victimize us. They tell you what horrible people we are, they charge us with bogus crimes. It's just us in court. Our public pretender isn't going to do their job. With Mandy Hughes, instead of misleading me, she should have spoken to my lawyer and let that lawyer know what was up. All of these people knowingly, willingly, and intentionally misled me and the situation. Yes, all of these people committed felonies. Is there a reason why these people want to hide their crimes? Is there a reason why they want to destroy their very own words on Facebook and YouTube? Yes, there is. They can be convicted and sent to prison for what they have done to me. See, in Nebraska, the fact that they didn't actually try to turn in those crimes makes them guilty of misdemeanors. The fact that they tried to hide that misdemeanor is what makes them felons. The fact that they worked with others to slander my name, to assist others who had assaulted me and threatened my life and the lives of my family to get away. That's what makes it a felony. And these officers are pushing a real thin line. They're putting people here in Hood River at risk. It is not okay for officers to put an at risk adult at further risk as they have here and as they have elsewhere. It is not okay for the media to do this here or elsewhere. They tell me I have to make all these calls myself and all these places blow me off because it's just me. You need to have someone act as your guardian and actually fight for your rights, or this is the way it really is for us. I'm not going through this because I'm a bad person. I'm going through this because you don't care if they violate my rights repeatedly. You don't care if I end up dead in a ditch over slander. And now I have to wait here all day. The longer they blow me off, the more likely it is that I'm going to be victimized further. And they're going to continue to pull this, oh, well, you need to call a civil lawyer. This is a civil thing. No, it's not. Not when you're a police officer, and not when you're doing this to an at risk adult.